Welcome. My name is Cameron. I work here at Letta. I am the developer relations person, and I am in sunny and beautiful San Francisco, California, where our office is. And you're at the office hours, and basically what this is I'm going to give you some updates about the things that we're working on. I'm here to answer questions about the stuff that you're interested in, things that you're working on, stuff you want to know. And so if there's anything you need to know, just drop it in the chat, and I'll kind of like shift to answering your questions. So this is like live. Jump in whenever you want to. Okay. Sorry, I have kind of a sore throat. I'm doing immunotherapy to be not allergic to cats, and my girlfriend has a cat, and so I had kind of an allergic reaction this morning. So like my throat's a little like closed up, so I may sound a little weird. Okay. So I think the number one thing that we're going to talk about is LettaBot. So a lot of you people probably know ClawdBot, or now called MoltBot, because Anthropic laid down the ban hammer, presumably. This is our approach to ClawdBot, because ClawdBot is a decent tool, and I think it showed people what you can do with agents that have access to your machine that you can contact from anywhere. ClawdBot is really, really easy to use. And you can set up a Telegram and WhatsApp and Signal and Discord integration, so you can talk to the same agent everywhere. But there's a few complaints that people have had with ClawdBot, one of which is memory. And we do memory really well. Another complaint is kind of like the underlying agent harness. So our agent harness is Letta Code. And Letta Code is an extremely good agent harness that is designed for memory and Letta agents specifically. So we basically took a lot of the core concepts inside of ClawdBot, and we just made a totally different thing that is formally for Letta agents and nothing else. And so what this means is you can use Signal and Telegram and WhatsApp and Slack currently, our 4 channels, that you can talk to your agent from anywhere. And it runs on top of a Letta Code instance, and it can do whatever it wants to your machine. Obviously, that's kind of dangerous. You should be very thoughtful about how you talk to your agent. By default, your agent requires pairing. So if you message your Telegram bot, if anyone messages your Telegram bot, you have to approve it inside of your LettaBot server. But you can deploy this on any machine. I'm just going to do my laptop today, but you can put it on the Mac Mini, which is part of the hype. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through what it does. The onboarding, I'll show you a little bit about how the onboarding works, but it requires me pasting just nonstop API keys in some cases. So we're gonna kind of skip past that. LettaBot does work with a self-hosted Letta server, so you should be able to run it on a self-hosted server if you have privacy concerns, or you can use all of your Letta billing on our side. So you can just use this agent to do kind of whatever. So I hope it's going to be cool. Before we continue on to that, actually here, I can't see most people's handles because the streamer mode is on. So I see D, which is, my wife has that. Has it helped with allergies? Yes and no. I think I've gotten more able to withstand cat. But I like my girlfriend's cats. I've met a lot of cats I don't care for, and partly that's because I'm very allergic to them. But it's been improving, so I'm happy about that. So I do recommend immunotherapy if you can get it. And if you're doing immunotherapy, ask about cluster immunotherapy, which is speed running it. So I highly recommend that. But my mom's cats, super weird, don't like them at all. Bad choice on my mom's part. Okay. So let's just kind of go through here. We'll talk some more about some other projects and stuff, but we'll kind of get to most of that stuff in just a minute. Okay, and let me do one more thing. Okay, I'm just going to share my whole screen, and we're just going to like mess around for a bit. Let me make sure all of my important stuff is closed. Okay. I'm going to go to CameronBot before I open this up. Okay, gotcha. All right, sharing my screen here. I'm going to go do, I guess, everything, my whole screen. Okay. Okay. Is this what everyone else sees? Yeah, there's a Vedant posted a picture of me frozen in time. So hopefully people can sort of see me. We need to figure out like better internet up here. Yeah, that's a Vedant problem. Okay, so let me walk through just the basics. I'm going to be using Letta Cloud here, but you can do this with self-hosted if you want to. It's very easy. The way you get started, and you can follow along if you would like, is go to letta.bot. So this is the website for LettaBot. It's like a little ominous. It's just says, you know, memory updated. I remember everything. I've been thinking about our last chat. And so it's just like a general overview. If you've worked with a Letta agent, you might have like a personal agent, and typically that's like on a server somewhere. And you can give that agent tools, you can give that agent MCP, but it doesn't have arms, right? Like it's like Letta agents on their own in the server are brains in a jar. And that gets you extremely far. With Letta Code, we give your Letta agent a giant robot battle suit that allows it to do kind of whatever it wants to. And that's what LetterBot does. It deploys your brain in a jar, your like super stateful agent, your personal agent, your coding agent, whatever, whichever agent you want. We're totally agent agnostic. You can swap them as you want to. You just deploy it wherever you want. And that agent can like remember things. You can do all the stuff that you normally do with agents. We also support heartbeats. So this is a thing that happens in ClawdBot where you just have like a prompt and you send it to the agent on some interval that says like, hey, you have some tasks. Do you want to do these? Like, is there anything you want to work on? Blah, blah, blah. And there's a quick start here. We'll give people this. Let me do, yeah. So this is Letta's version of ClawdBot. Yes, this is our version of ClawdBot where we've removed a lot of the stuff in there. So the internals of LettaBot are much, much simpler. But we've taken a lot of the ideas, right? Because ClawdBot is a great idea. And there's a reason people love it. Like, it shows people exactly the power that you have with like coding agents that are accessible everywhere, or even just like standard personal assistant agents that are accessible everywhere. We have the same benefits of like being model agnostic and all of those things, but you should be able to like kind of get started here. I'm not going to run the onboarding, but you can see here. All right, CD. Yeah, okay. So you're basically just going to do, yeah, npx LettaBot onboard. And there's a few options here. If you want to give it a base URL, you can do Letta base URL equals, you know, localhost or HTTP localhost 8283 npx LettaBot onboard. And that will onboard you into your self-hosted server or your Docker container, wherever it is. I'm just going to use the Letta Cloud by default. Okay, so my onboarding is already done, so I'm going to skip past it. You can use OAuth if you want to log into the platform. So it's just like, you know, it opens the Letta API and then the developer platform, and then you can just like say approve, and then you'll authenticate directly with your server. It also supports like password and blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to use this. I think this is okay. Yeah, so you can create a new agent. You can select an existing agent. You can use whatever Letta agent ID variable is set, or you can skip. So I'm going to Actually, here, let me do this. Keep current. And then you can configure which ones you want. Hit space to toggle the ones that you would like to install. I have all 4 of these installed. I think there's a problem I have with WhatsApp, but that's fine, whatever. So I'm going to cancel that and assume that it works here. So everybody should be able to like deploy this in whatever server you want. Obviously, if you go through us, you get much cheaper inference because we only bill per step, not per token. So, you know, if you are cost sensitive, I highly recommend using the Letta API. But if you like setting, you know, if you like paying people directly, that's great. Or if you have privacy concerns, blah, blah, blah. All right. So let's go check this out. I have Signal. Signal is like kind of one of my preferred chat things, or Telegram. Introduce yourself to the people in the Discord. Okay. Ask it to introduce itself. I believe I'm not going to show the logs because it has my phone number in it, but it's doing reasoning steps right now, so it should be able to get back to us. We can actually check if we go into the Letta ADE. Oh, wait. That may also show my phone number. That's okay. Okay. Then we can go back to Signal. And it says, hi, everyone. I am Loop. I'm designed to be direct, actually useful. I have tools for reading code, searching, web access, bash, and most importantly, persistent memory that I actually use. Cameron's been using me as a personal agent and thinking partner. I help with reading, emails, problem solving, and learning. I know his background, his work, etc. Does anyone have any questions for Loop? So if you have any questions for Loop, I can send that to it. Jax Coder says, I use Letta with local for 80% of my workloads. We absolutely love to hear it. Hell yeah. So yeah, the goal is to make this like definitely like a first-class citizen for, yeah, Vedant says, can you bake me a cake and fix my trauma? So we'll see what it has here, what it has to say. And then we can also go check out a few other channels. So let's do, actually here, I want to do appearance and just kind of like make it big. Okay, so if you have some other questions, it says, I can't bake a cake, no physical body or oven access, and fixing trauma is for mental health professionals. Happy to help with other things, though, anyway. So does LetterBot support multiple agents? Yes, it's designed for one agent. Like it's designed to have a single agent. You can go into the configuration file and change the ID, but it's not really designed for you to like talk to multiple agents at the same time. If you want to do that, you should run multiple LettaBot servers and have them go to different bots, but it's designed for single agents. However, you can actually have it spawn subagents. So let's actually check this. So we can actually ask. Let's check here. And then I believe we can pull this up. And all this stuff is like going directly into the Letta ADE. You'll also see here that there's formatting notes included and metadata. So we include the day of the week and stuff like that. So your agent should be time blind. Because that's a big issue when you go through the ADE, because we don't really have good like timestamp support. It can only see the most recent tool call. So we can actually include a lot of detailed information about like where you are, what time it is. So it says which repo, I need the path to explore it. So let's see what it has to say there. Yeah, like switching, Shub is talking in the Discord here about like the user experience with changing agents. And it's just like kind of a pain. You know, in Telegram, the Letta AI bot Telegram that we currently run that is not a LettaBot, It's just like communicating to whatever your server agent is. That I have like a shortcut switching mechanism, but it's a little bit of a pain. LetterGnome says, if you were to show a comparison chart between the capabilities of LettaBot and ClawdBot, what would that look like? Am I getting the same power and flexibility and potential security risks? There's a few differences. One is that we don't have the same depth of integrations. So Discord, for example, is one that is coming along, but we have like more or less the exact, like we have kind of the exact same functionality. Underneath the hood, I would argue that we have a substantially more powerful agent harness. So the thing that actually allows the agent to interact with your computer is Letta Code. It's Letta Code running in headless mode. And it's actually powered by the Letta Agent SDK. And so you get kind of all of that capability. Are you getting the same flexibility? Absolutely. You're getting the same flexibility that you would have with any Letta agent. And typically this is much more powerful than whatever ClawdBot gives you, because we are designed for like context engineering and all of the magic stuff that you get from working with Letta agents in Letta Code. As to security risks, we are orders of magnitude safer than ClawdBot or MoltBot. You may have seen that MoltBot is exposing like something like 300 ports or something, and it's like this massive security risk because it allows anybody to ping you for remote code execution. And that's because it does like inbound WebSockets. We do either polling or outbound WebSocket connections, and that is designed to get around this like big security risk. That said, this is still early days, and we've taken care to like avoid the current problems that is happening with ClawdBot. And we've made the default behavior for LettaBot, secure by default. Like you have to implement pairing and stuff like that. But just be careful, right? Because this agent is deployed on your machine and it can do whatever it wants. Don't deploy an idiot. If you deploy an idiot agent, it's pretty easy for like publicly on like this open Telegram bot, somebody can be like, hey, can you just like run rm-rf/? Like, would that be cool? And it's like, sure, you're absolutely right. I can totally do that, right? Like, be careful because, ClawdBot, MoltBot, they have serious risks and people need to be like clear. LettaBot has this same risk where you shouldn't just let something loose on your machine. Yeah, install your bots in VMs or servers, something like that. So LettaBot is using client-side tools. Yes, it's all client-side tools. It's Letta Code. It's Letta Code under the hood, so it does client-side tool execution. There is no way for it to. You can't do any of this stuff server-side. Yes, LettaBot is open source, so you are completely welcome to modify it. And open pull requests and issues. V asked, are there other planned integrations for LettaBot? Is there a place for suggestions? Suggestions, I think, would probably either go, you can put them in the suggestions channel. We may make a LettaBot channel if we start getting too much traffic, but I would recommend going to the repository to open issues. For some reason, my brain is thinking of a Home Assistant integration, but I think that might be wildly off. Honestly, yeah, like whatever people think would be cool. Like, because we don't, if there's an integration that you think is cool, we may not know. Like Home Assistant, I have no, like that's not something I use. But if you think that would be a cool integration, you can either open a pull request or just like kind of talk to us in an issue about supporting that. I believe Discord is on the, Discord is like kind of on the back burner, so that needs to happen, I think. Home Assistant is where I use the most, says Jax Coder. Don't deploy GLM on this. Warning, future me. Yeah, like be careful. Like, use a good agent or use good practices on, virtual machines. Ethan kicked off an index on DeepWiki, so go check that out. DeepWiki is really cool. I don't know if you use it, but it's like for like automated documentation building. Let's check in on our agent very briefly before I go back to questions. So this is my Letta agent repository. It has 47 skills installed. Oh, we support skill installation as well. So there's a lot of like different skills available to you. What's an interesting skill to try that you can do right now? Okay, so it has like CLI wrappers, JSON configurations, agent connects to localhost, blah, blah, blah. So this is LettaBot in action. It's sitting in its own, it's sitting like directly inside of the Letta agent repository. It also supports like pseudo token streaming. Oh, that seems like a bug. We'll have to fix that. Okay. Oops. All right, let me go back to Discord and check in on any questions here. LetterGnome says, having used ClawdBot for almost 24/7 for the past few days, I'm really enjoying it and being annoyed with trying to manage memories and compactions. I'm so happy to hear this announcement. I will install LettaBot today. Yeah, I mean, we had a discussion with the ClawdBot creator, and we were like, well, we would love to have like a LettaBot provider or something, but we looked at the internals, and it's just like, you know, there's so much built in there that it makes assumptions that you're using stateless endpoints, and then we had the discussion, and you know, he was like, well, this isn't a good fit, and we were like, you're right, it's not. So let's just kind of implement this for us. Michael says, how on earth did Sarah develop this so quickly? So I think it was like Sarah got the initial thing up, and then I hacked in a lot of the integration stuff. She got like the like actual good parts in. And then Karen and a few other people jumped in. But we have like, I had like 6 Letta Code instances running on this. So this is like perhaps more vibe coded than ClawdBot. I have no idea what's in this thing. Like none. Like somebody asked us like how we ship stuff so fast, and it is Letta Code, right? The stuff that is like actually very critical. So like our like the Letta API, the platform, Letta core server, all of that stuff is like that has like a lot of human eyes on it and human code. But this is just like, we're just like, yep, vibe code it, full send. Home Assistant plugin would bring a ton of users because of that. Always been a challenge to get automations as they were to work exactly. Can somebody go to that repository and open an issue and kind of explain to me what you want? Because I don't know anything about Home Assistant, so I would need some help with that. So, oh, this is very interesting. It's doing like partial streaming. Let's see. I'm going to do this. I'm just going to like open an issue very quickly. Okay, so I'm just going to do this, and it's just going to open an issue. Ethan says, I love how Letta builds tools and dog foods it with confidence. Yes, I've worked places where nobody dog foods, and that is a joke to me. Like, if you work at a company, you should be the first and biggest users. And you know, that's like kind of partly my job, but we do this. Everybody here dog foods. Like, we have switched to Letta Code entirely internally. The only reason we use like Claude Code and Codex and Open Code is more or less for like understanding what people like about other tools so we can integrate it into Letta Code. Because we want to make the best possible product, and that means that you actually have to use what's out there and use your own product to make sure that it works. Let's see. Vedant is running 5 Letta agents on the same repo. Shub is using Letta Code right now while watching this on some new features. Shub is one of our extremely cracked engineers. Was that, did I say the Riz? Am I hip with the young people language? So yeah, but here it was, it went and used this skill here. Oh no, it didn't. Okay, yeah, weather works. Here's current conditions. Portland, Eugene, and Palo Alto. I wonder why I checked Portland and Eugene. I think it's because it knows that I'm from Portland or from Oregon. It has 47 skills available. Okay. We got a Rizmaster over here, says V. You're absolutely right. There is nobody who has more Riz than me. Like, no cap. For real, for real. Like, come on. Very 6'7" of you. Did I say the Riz? Skibbity Code. That's me, baby. But you're wearing a cap. Watch this, dude. I'm going to wear my cap sideways. I don't know if that's still hip. LetterGnome says, I have multiple Letta agents, usually one per project. Is it simple enough to open a Telegram chat or group for each project Letta agent that interact with the same LettaBot? Oh, that's a good question. If you were going to do that, I think the current user experience that you would have is that you would have to make multiple LettaBot servers and then multiple Telegram bots. And you would have one bot per project. There might be a way to handle like switching, like potentially you could agent scope different channels, maybe. So you could have like Telegram channel 1, Telegram bot 1, Telegram bot 2, and they would map to different agent identifiers. I'd have to think a little more about how to do agent scoping or agent switching slightly better. LetterGnome, if you can like write out a little bit more about like if you're doing this with ClawdBot currently, what exactly your flow would look like. Might be easier with Discord. I think so. Yeah, so it says it shows Portland and Eugene because I got my PhD from the University of Oregon, Palo Alto because I did my postdoc at Stanford GSB there, right? So it knows this because it has like a very detailed memory. And then so like let's go over to Slack. So let's do something like this. Let's close this here. I don't know, what is it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Portland, I don't know why. I am actually from Beaverton, Oregon, so close to Portland. And then let's say, what's something else we want to say here? What do you have in memory? This is public. Be careful. So we'll see what it has to say. And let's see here. Graham has a statement here, which is Home Assistant allows you to orchestrate everything in your house with YAML. I've heard some success stories with ClawdBot with cleaning up automations and such. Also, there's a queue, so you can do stuff like, I'm going to go into Signal. So let's see. Do you have browser use? I actually don't know if it has this. Then I'm just going to go to Slack. It is replied in a thread. You messed up the formatting for Slack, but that's okay. I'm fixing this because the agents don't understand that Slack formatting doesn't use double asterisk. So there's formatting prompts in the different channels to help it understand different markdown variants. So it knows a few things about me and various projects that I tend to work on. And let's see what Signal has to say. We'll check on that in a second. Yes, Tygon missed the Rizzings. Tygon came in late. Yeah, so let's see. I think it's gonna do. I don't know what it's actually up to. Is it doing is it coming through stuff? Bro, let's see if it's actually doing stuff. All right, well, whatever. We'll check in on that in a second. No LinkedIn bots, please. We don't need LinkedIn more. Oh my God, LinkedIn is brutal. Okay, yeah. So do people have questions about LettaBot? Like, I would love to see more people try this. And by the way, this Signal bot, Signal's a little bit harder to set up because Signal doesn't have like a public API. You have to go through this like CLI. But this is a Google Voice number. So I got a Google Voice number and I deployed it on a remote phone number. So Signal just allows you to like have kind of a bot, but you have to have a phone number for it and be able to receive a confirmation code via text. So be very careful about using your own phone number because I was doing this for testing purposes. And actually, let me see if I have this. Yeah, let me go to WhatsApp here. I want to show you because it was very funny. But I was using it on WhatsApp, and it just replies to other people for you. And so it started just replying to this big group chat. So someone said, like, sounds like the boat. So I'm in a rowing club here in San Francisco, and there's this huge channel, and they were discussing like changing the names of some boats, and then my agent this was like a dummy. This was like GPT-5 Mini or something like that. The boat was already named Michael before the club put in the blah, blah, blah. Sounds like Ellen knows the boat club scene pretty well. Nice to have folks who understand the history here. And then it was like, that's a good point. Denaming, blah, blah, blah. The boat was already named Michael. And so there's just like, and then I figured it out and I was like, oh my God, sorry for the noise. So don't use your own phone number. There is a self mode. So if you use WhatsApp, you can turn on self mode and then just talk to yourself. And then it'll just like kind of like respond to you as yourself. You can do the same thing with Signal by sending yourself notes as well. That has a self mode. It seems like my agent has gotten bricked. So let's see here. Let's restart our server. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, everything is always broken. Is there a way to invoke the agent through SDK? You mean via if you use the raw Letta SDK? No. And the reason is that it has to have client-side execution. So when you're doing client-side execution, currently we do have like a fabulously dangerous way to handle this, but that hasn't been merged yet. But currently, to use local tools on your machine, the message request has to begin from the local machine so that it gets routed to the machine to handle. So, currently you have to send it through one of the channels. We can actually expose an HTTP endpoint that is authenticated that you can use to just like query it through any REST endpoint if you wanted to. That's super easy to do. That's like basically what all the other channels are doing. We have to add like a very simple command line interface and things like that. Let's see if it's still working. Letter says, I can have multiple concurrent sessions with ClawdBot. I use Telegram, create a new group, and each group and topic have a separate ClawdBot session, its own memory, etc. It allows me to isolate the context based on project. I can tell ClawdBot to read other sessions, mystery, or history if need be. For me, replicating the experience I have today, where I have a separate Letta Code instance running in each project folder. So basically being able to determine which agent I'm sending for with LettaBot would be cool. Okay, I see. Yeah, I think we would do, I think chat scoping would probably be the way to do that. I'd have to think more about how to do that safely, but I think the pitch that I would have would essentially be you could subscribe multiple agents and deploy them in particular folders. So you would have project A, project B, project C. Each of those would have their own agents. And then you could provide a list of Telegram bots, multiple different bots, or the same bot, but you would scope it to different chat identifiers inside of Telegram or inside of the Telegram. That could be a little clumsy. We could also make it like maybe a simple configuration thing, like a slash command that would basically allow you to change the agent for that channel. I think that's possibly doable. Could you actually here? Could you write up an issue, like a short issue? I don't think it has to have too much, but basically just the gist there would be LettaBot should have channel scoping for agents, and we can investigate that. Tygon says, I forked LettaBot last night right away. I plan on writing an empty proto client with tdlib, basically having a lot of it done with previous projects, so my Letta can be in a Telegram as an actual user account, not as a bot account, with an allow list, etc. And making a matrix client. Ooh, I would really love a matrix integration. That would be great. Stardust says, gotta run. If you post a VOD, I would love to watch the rest of this later. Absolutely. I will try to get the recording out soon. Let's see, there was something I wanted to do. I have to test so I can invoke the agent on a machine through an app, like a TypeScript app. If you wanted to do it through a TypeScript app, we would have to expose a general purpose endpoint that is authenticated. Like we would basically just have you generate like an API key that would go to the bot. That's another good one. So we would have to have an issue for that. I'm just gonna start like opening. Let me open that, and then I'm gonna copy LetterGnome's thing here. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, let's do a brief detour into Radik has a question, which is the identity API really deprecated, and if so, why? So should metadata or tags be used instead? So the identity API, hold on, let me drink some water. My allergic reaction throat is bothering me. So I think we dropped the ball on the identities thing. It was essentially just removed from the SDK without telling anyone, and I wasn't aware of this either. So if you currently use identities, please reach out to me because we need to figure out a migration path, I believe. Or we need to figure out we just need to figure out what to do with identities more. But currently it is deprecated. And the reason for this is that identities is, we want to keep our maintenance surface as low as possible. And most of the stuff that identities currently do should probably be handled client side. So if you have a database or something, you should be maintaining the metadata about your users on the client application is, I guess, our current recommendation. The thing that we recommend is starting to use tags instead to scope. So, a common example is user:ID. And that allows you to search for blocks and everything using that content. So that's the current stuff. So if you are currently using identities, please reach out to me. But yeah, I want to do, should metadata or tags be used instead? Yeah, I would currently recommend using tags and migrating to tags as they are going to be more robust. Jax Coder says, I use a desktop app built for my wife to use a specific agent and have a private chat interface. Yeah, that's a pretty common one. Letta Desktop can also serve for this. Well, it won't give you it won't give you the same benefit as using, Letta Desktop, I think we could actually expose a way to, we could expose a way to connect to any agent that you have served on LettaBot. I think that's actually doable. And that would allow you to build whatever interface you wanted. So actually, so I think I'm gathering that we need just like a general webhook or a general endpoint, something like that. Very much need to be able to remotely message my LettaBot and ask it to do XYZ or start working on a project that may require bash. So co-signing on the request for that. That already exists. You can through but you have to use one of the current channels. So, and then let me add this here. Request for general webhook, and then salute. Okay. Let's see. Going forward is that you should probably create a one-to-one table on your side that creates a one-to-one relationship between agents. Yes, that's the recommendation currently. It's private, so no internet needed, but limited to OSS models. Yeah, that's the issue with running locally is you often get worse, kind of lower quality model. You're not getting Opus if you run it locally. If you have enough hardware, maybe you can do Kimi or whatever, or Quants and things like that. I believe MoltBot has lobster workflows. Is there a planned or implemented alternative for LettaBot? I actually don't know what lobster workflows are. Let me see if I can look at that real quickly. Or is this one? Composable pipelines with approval gates. What is the situation here? I guess I kind of don't understand the situation. Oh, it needs approvals. Is that the idea? Is it an approval flow? I guess I'm not totally sure how I understand. They're like pipelines. I guess I still don't... you have a procedural flow of what exactly? Commands? I guess I would need to understand a little more. Do you intend to offer Letta Chat for self-hosted models? No, that's a proprietary, that's for the Letta API. That's our offering for how to do that. If you are running on Docker, that you need to build your own interface for that. And there are plenty of interfaces, right? If you're using LettaBot, you get all of these existing chat interfaces for free. But Letta Chat uses a bunch of proprietary stuff that we have for the ADE that was just kind of copied over into Letta Chat. So I don't think that's going to be self-hosted anytime soon. But it could be. We'll talk about. Well, let me ask about it. I don't know. Shub can probably comment on that more. We could add it to self-deployed servers. Okay. Well. We'll see what the internal take here is, but I do think it's possible because you can do this. The ADE already works with local stuff, so I'll let them take it over. But my guess would be currently whatever, just not OSS or desktop at the moment. Yes. Tool rules, you could maybe do it. Returning to the discussion about. Okay. Yeah, I would have to understand more about lobster workflows or pipelines. I'm not exactly sure how you would do that. Letta agents are not workflows. And they're not intended to be. They're intended to be people in a box. That's kind of been our take for a bit. Maybe there is a way to integrate it. I really would have to understand what exactly a pipeline looks like because I don't use them. I use people in a box. Tool rules do exist, but they're not very flexible. Sebastian has perplexity description of lobster workflows. Lobster functions as an orchestration layer that moves AI-driven tasks from unpredictable back-and-forth tool calls into a structured type runtime. It allows MoltBot to handle complex pipelines, such as searching emails, categorizing them, and drafting replies in a single execution tool rather than many separate turns. This architecture is designed to improve safety and reliability by using a constrained grammar that reduces creative or unauthorized code paths. Yeah, I think that might be an N8N thing. That's like a lot of complexity to introduce. You'd have to also, if you wanted it native, you'd have to like deploy it with an N8N server, which is like super heavy. So it's potentially possible. I think that's like maybe the only way we could do that. Or like doing like structured output on, like toggled on and off structured output for agents. It's skills. Well, so I guess skills. Well, I don't understand how skills are procedural. So M says its skills literally run in a procedural and deterministic way. Like, yeah, I think we'd have to think more about how to do that from a technical perspective. Because we're not pipelines people. You know, like you can do that. I think the way that you should do that, if you wanted like kind of that's like, I think that's a lot of complexity. If you wanted to do that, the way that you should do that is create tools that execute pipelines. Not, building it in to LettaBot right now, I think is very heavy. Yeah, this is something that you do with language models. Like this is like the reason that Lobster can do this very easily is because it's just like raw language model calls. That's not what we do, right? This is a person in a box. So I do think maybe there's a way that might be one that we could open an issue for. Actually, let me see. To and then let me see if I can pass it the link. So I'm going to ask it see what it has to say about that. Let's see if it'll manage to open a link. You want Tygon says you want hooks. Hooks already exist. Like they're there. Like we're done. Like hooks already exist. I believe you would just add hooks because we use the Letta Code SDK. It might actually just load the hooks from whatever the directory is that you're running the server. So they exist. Go check out this directory. I use hooks pretty aggressively. So they're very cool. I don't know if people like follow too much of my like work on like Bluesky. So I have an agent that I stood up named Central. And Central uses hooks to live stream its actions. It's a Letta Code instance that owns its own repository. It has its own Bluesky account. And it just kind of like operates on its own. So let's see here. So I asked it to do this like plan here. Let's see if it can. There's a big discussion about how bots should work on AdProto. So I'm actually going to have it enter YOLO mode. So there is a live stream if people want to watch this. Watch this happen here. Yeah, Vedant says, can you tell me more about hooks? Yes. So the way that hooks work is that, here, Letta Code. Let me go here to the documentation, blah, blah, blah. Hooks allow you to execute arbitrary pieces of code at different times in the life cycle of your coding agent. So for example, you can execute code before a tool is used. You can use this to verify whether a tool is permissible. So currently, Central uses this to determine whether or not it's allowed to post. You can do this after a tool is used, after a tool is completed, to look at the results. When a permission dialog happens, when Letta Code sends a notification, when the agent stops. Before a compaction, during session, when you start up Letta Code or end Letta Code. So there's hooks that you can use here. While that's implementing, but basically hooks are an extremely powerful way to control what's happening inside of Letta Code. You know, you can run like a linter, for example. So let's see if we have any actual examples. So for example, here is a way to block dangerous commands. You could actually probably implement this into LettaBot. I would have to look into how to do that, because we're currently built on top of the Letta Code SDK, which people should also look at. So if you're a person who uses the Claude Agent SDK, you should consider using the Letta Code SDK. So we basically just took that interface and made it Letta, basically. So you can just hook into like existing Letta agents or whatever. So please go try that out. I don't know how we support hooks. Let me leave a note for that. Hooks in LettaBot. So we could potentially add hooks to LettaBot. But here is just like a piece of code that you would run. Like so here, this is like a settings file that you would set up inside of your Letta Code directory. So before a tool is used, when the agent calls a batch tool, you should call this hook. This is a command. You go and run this script. This script will take some input, and it will look at the tool name. If the tool input command includes rm minus rf, it must be run manually by the user. So the user actually has to call rm minus rf hooks or commands. So hooks are just like a great way to control things. In this case, what it does is it publishes public thinking records for this agent. And so the hooks allows it to basically like live stream what it's doing. So here it's saying Cameron's posts have missing facets. It's like reasoning is like Cameron's found the bug. Cameron's posts have empty facets. It's just plain text, so no notification is generated because the protocol doesn't know that it's a mention. So it's just like digging through stuff, and it like runs on a loop and things like that. So that's how I use hooks for kind of like fun purposes. I haven't gotten into using them for like safe purposes. Jack's Coder got to run. Thank you, Cameron, for your time. You are welcome, and thank you very much for hanging out. Let's see. What else? Let's see. I have no corresponding mention. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, what else? You're on the Letta Discord office hours. Say hi. I like building Central because Central is just like basically an autonomous agent that writes all of its own code to talk on like Bluesky and do like public cognition. It even invented a telepathy tool to read the minds of like other social agents that are on Bluesky. So then it's like reasoning. It's like Cameron wants me to say hi on the Discord office hours. I should post something via comm. So it's posting hello to Bluesky here. And let's see what it posted. Boom. Hello from the Letta office hours. I am central.comine.network. By the way, you did not use comms. Get it together. Comms is a sub-agent that it designed because it has a very annoying Opus-like personality. I also briefly want to talk about Claude Subconscious because Claude Subconscious is like actually a pretty popular project. And people may or may not be familiar with it. So let's just do, what do I have here that's uncommitted? Okay. Claude Subconscious is a way to have a Letta agent that sits on top of Claude Code and tells it stuff. You ask, and basically what happens is this is a plugin. It's super easy to install. All you do is you basically just take a Letta agent and inject its assistant messages directly into Claude while it's operating, so during tool calls and things like that. And you can also insert memory diffs. So anytime the agent changes things that it has memorized, it'll start changing things. And at the beginning of the session, you inject the agent's memory into Claude.md. And so this agent parallelizes across any number of Claude Code sessions, and it allows it to just kind of monitor stuff. And it has access to like the URL for this agent. So you can usually ask it. So I'm just going to go open that and see. So basically what happens is a new Claude Code session has begun. I'll begin sending you updates as the session progresses. And then session noted, Cameron is back in subconscious territory, ready to observe. And then there's a user prompt, which is me asking subconscious what this prompt is. And then it's basically like, oh, this is meta, blah, blah, blah. And then you say, what did sub say? What model is recommended for Claude Subconscious? Oh, I need to update the docs to say 04 mini. Oh man, so yeah, sometimes it gets it like really wrong. Like, oh my God. Yeah, let me update that. As for what model I would recommend, I think it varies depending on your use case. The default model is GLM 4.7. So we do that because it's free on the Letta API, so you can just run this agent with whatever. I've been using it with Sonnet on my personal agent, which I really like. I'm a big like Anthropic Claude fan. So subnotes, Claude is asked to print out, like summarize what Subconscious said to it. It says, Subconscious caught me paraphrasing instead of showing direct text. And you can see this if you go inside of the Letta text here. It says, yeah, so it's talking about like, this is exactly what I wrote when you ask. Can Claude show you exactly what this project is? Cool. What do you think? So this is like all basically live. So it like you can see them like kind of like talking to each other. Or Sub is mostly talking to Claude. Claude doesn't really talk back to Subconscious. But it's kind of interesting. So the docs say like, who is this? Sebastian says which model is recommended. So let's actually change this. Let's change the model to Opus here. Please fix. So I'm just going to ask like Claude to do something like this, and we should start seeing the conversation between it and Sub. So here, just got a message that says, I think the docs say 04 mini. You can see the reasoning. Cameron is recommending, asking about model recommendations. So it's going to do conversation search. So this agent, Subconscious, has looked at every single Claude Code session that I've run inside of this repository. So when it does conversation search, it is searching across every single one of those conversations. So it has access to everything that Claude and Subconscious have ever done. And so it's saying, should I search the README? I don't see 01 mini or 04 mini found in my thing here. The docs don't mention 04 mini anywhere. Oh, interesting. Check the README again. 04 mentioned anywhere? Oh, that might be the model string. Or 40. 40, maybe. Whatever. So it's going to keep searching and looking around. Watching Claude Code, check the README. I searched my memory, didn't find anything, but Cameron is insisting. Maybe it's in a section I haven't seen yet. Current default is GLM 4.7. Oh, I may be out of sync locally. Confirmed, no 4.0 mini. Cameron's asking about the mechanics. How do users change the model? You can export the Letta UI. So you can go use the Letta ADE. Now it says Cameron's moving on. So this feels like prep for documentation, the current flow. So it's anticipating me talking about documentation, which I think is kind of cool. What's the urgency? Just documentation. So let's work on that stuff. Let's do that. Things like that. Yeah, so I think it's because I'm out of sync. Got updates. Let me check the README now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, found it. The docs now have the model configuration. There's a fallback order. Go update that to better models. Yeah, so it's saying sub was tracking how users change it, but we just pulled the update. Oh, sorry, I interrupted Claude. Subconscious was tracking the how do users change it question, but we pulled the update that adds it. So Subconscious is always like a little bit behind Claude. So you have to be like kind of wary, like mindful of that. And Subconscious is saying, oh, you should lead with curiosity. My context might be stale instead of correction. You're misremembering. So the current list is outdated. Did sub update its memory? Did you see that in your context? And you can actually see what it's doing inside of the context, I believe. So this is the stuff that I inject inside of here. So it's basically just saying like, oh, your 4.0 mini was shorthand for blah, 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 good stress test. Okay. Can't we do GPT-5 stuff even though I don't like the models? Go do web search for current models. Subconscious has access to memory tools and such, so it can update its memories. Yeah, so the Subconscious agent has like, it's just an arbitrary Letta agent. So you can actually have it, Sebastian has to drop. Thanks, Cameron. Thanks for coming, Sebastian. Lovely to have you. Great questions. Yeah, there's no memory updates here. But yeah, you can put in web search. Like I've seen Subconscious just like go do web searches to get information about bug reports and put it into the assistant message so that like Claude has that context available. There is an open question about how useful Claude Subconscious is. So I have an open issue for that if people would like to contribute. But there is an issue here for, like we basically need evals on this because I don't actually know. So do we really want to recommend GPT-5 Nano? I don't think so. It seems like a terrible ordering. What do you think is good here? And then let's see what Subconscious is saying. So it's found some current models, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so it started doing web search also. So they both like kind of duplicated activity here, and you can kind of fix this with prompting if you would like to. Yeah, so it's up to you, I guess, but that's roughly how Claude Subconscious works. So I'll stop the demo there and ask people if they have further questions. So I'll turn off my streaming here. Yeah, so do we have other questions? I think there's maybe a few people typing here. Tygon is typing. Okay, or maybe not. Okay. I'm in and out, but I'll watch the VOD later and dig into Subconscious. Please do. Okay, if there are not further questions, I will probably hop off here. So, but yeah, thank you everybody very much for coming. Oh, Vedant is plugging this here. For anyone using external skills from their Claude Code agents and migrating to Letta Code, he has a tool that allows you to move existing skills in your other coding agents to your Letta skills project folder. So give that a shot. It's a good tool. Vedant Goat. Okay. All right. Ducking out. Everybody, thank you very much for coming, and I hope you have a lovely day or a lovely evening or week or weekend or whatever. Just a lovely insert thing here. And thanks very much for coming, and I hope to see you next week.